All right, guys, it's time for another week of the NHL Power Rankings. It's week 19, and I'm going to get us started with my 32. No surprise here, the Chicago Blackhawks. They do not move.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, look, I mean, their week was somewhat, it's pretty tough, They get a 2-4 loss against the Vancouver Canucks. Not an easy team to beat. Only top of the NHL. A 4-1 loss against the Pittsburgh Penguins, and then they get a pretty nifty win against the Ottawa Senators today, 3-2. So, they take 2 points. They face some difficult opponents, but at the end of the day, it's not enough to move them up. And look, the good thing is Connor Bedard's back. He made his return against Pittsburgh, played reasonably well, and he played well again today against the Senators. So yeah, look, that's probably the thing you look forward to is that Bedard's back now. See how he can progress for the rest of the season.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. 31, I do have movement. Anaheim Ducks.
Yes, me too.
And so they start out the week. They get blanked by Montreal 5-0, only have 13 shots. They come against Ottawa. They 5-1 Ottawa with 20 shots. And then they go and get 9-2'd by Toronto with 21 shots. So 21 shots being the most they've had this week. Negative shot differential of 50 in 3 games. And yeah, getting just what? How many goals they concede? Was it 10, 15 in 3 games, averaging 5? It's yeah, not good, but it is what it is. The sellers at the coming trade deadline, and that's Anaheim.
Pretty much summed it up well. The 5-1 win against the Senators almost made me keep them where they were, but look, those two losses were horrendous, so they had to go down. At 30, taking their place is the San Jose Sharks.
Yep, same thing.
Yeah, look, uh, they had a difficult week in terms of opponents, and they did quite well, so they had to go up. They get a 1-0 loss against the Winnipeg Jets, so, really good effort there, even though they only had 17 shots on goal. That defensive effort, I don't know what it is, but the goaltending for the Sharks hasn't been terrible, and it sort of kept them from getting blown out in some games. They get a 6-3 win against the Calgary Flames on a back-to-back. It's a big win, that one. But then they lose 4-3 to the Columbus Blue Jackets in the final 13 seconds. So, they were 13 seconds away from going 500 this week. They played well in all 3 games. So yeah, for me, they had to move up a spot.
Alrighty, 29 for me, staying the same. The Columbus Blue Jackets.
Same here.
And team only played 2 games this week. They 6-3 lost to Ottawa, even though they had 40 shots to their 30. And then today they beat San Jose 4-3 with 41 shots to their 31. So going 500, new GM, and look, different outlook, I guess, coming forward in this deadline. And look, obviously sellers, but look, they played decently for a lot of parts of this season, and having 2 games of 40 shots is definitely a positive.
Yeah. Look, I think they're a team to watch out in the coming seasons. They've got potential. They just need that experience, a couple of additional pieces. They'll be good to go. All right, 28 for me, the Montreal Canadiens.
Alrighty, then my 27.
Yeah, I did consider moving them up above a certain somebody who I'm sure we'll talk about soon. But I just kept them where they were. Just a couple of bad losses this week. They lose 2-7 to the St. Louis Blues. They get a 5-0 win against the Anaheim Ducks. They lose 7-4 against the New York Rangers, and then they lose 4-3 against the Washington Capitals. So they only take the 2 points, and they have two pretty significant losses there against the Blues and the Rangers. Although the Rangers are on an absolute tear, so it's not surprising. Um, Look, it is what it is from these guys. I think they're slipping just under 500, but they're still, in terms of where they are and where they're probably going to finish in terms of points anyway. I think we're all going to be quite impressed with what they've done. Like I don't think they've been a cellar dweller by any means. They've been competitive, even though they've gotten blown out in some games. So I've liked what we've seen from the Canadians this year in an advancement perspective.
Yeah, I think they've got a good identity in the sense they score a lot of goals. Problem is they just concede a lot of goals, but I do like the scoring part of it. On to my 28, Arizona Coyotes.
By 27, they definitely could have been 28.
So yeah, they don't win a game this week. 3-5 loss to Philadelphia, outshot by 11. Then they get a 1-3 loss to Minnesota, outshot by 17. And then they come up against Carolina and lose 1-5. So having one more shot than them, but look, 5 goals in 3 games, 2 games with 1 goal. You're not going to win with those kind of stats. And they've been ordinary for a very long time. What is it? 2-7-1 in the last 10.
Eight straight.
Lost the
Yeah.
last 3 in a row. So yeah, it's
No,
they've
at
been
last 8. They've lost the last 8. The NHL app's
oh
stupid because they had
okay.
an OT loss. Because they had an OT loss, it comes up with 3
Oh yeah,
losses.
I
They've
get
lost.
that. I get that. Yeah,
Yeah.
but they've
Yeah.
they've been ordinary, like I've said, for about a month now. If
Yeah.
you've been following my power rankings, they've been on the slide for a while.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think they've had 3 wins in their last 20 games or something like that almost. Like it's not good. So yeah, like I'm going to be honest with you. If they keep this up, we may have a new bottom 3.
Yeah.
It's been disappointing. All right, 26 for me is the Washington Capitals.
Yeah, my 25.
Yeah, look, I mean, they don't move. They have an interesting week. I think they go 500. So they lose 3-2 to the Vancouver Canucks in OT, which is, to get a point against Vancouver is huge. They lose 6-3 to Colorado, and then they get a 4-3 win against Montreal. So they go 500. I just couldn't warrant moving them up. They definitely weren't going to go down, but with a 2-6-2 record in the last 10, it was hard to make a case to move them any further up. So, yeah, I think their season's done, unfortunately. I really do, but it was fun whilst it lasted, and Ovi is finally starting to score and looking like he will,
A
will
bit
get
late.
that chase. A bit late, but hey, look, if he puts up 25 goals this year, he's still well in reach of that record. So, let's see what he can do in the last 20 odd games. And yeah,
All right, 26 for me. Ottawa Senators.
I think they're my 25. Yeah, we just got switched around.
Yeah, so that week they beat Columbus 6-3. They go against Anaheim and lose 5-1. And then they lose today 3-2 to Chicago, even though they had 20 more shots. And it kind of seems to be the staple. They outshoot their opponents quite consistently and lose consistently. Losing to 2 of the 3 bottom end teams, definitely, and current 32 and 31s is not good, and beating both our 29th overall. So very easy week, and they only come out with 2 points, and it kind of sums up Ottawa.
I was about to say that is Ottawa to a T. Finally look like they might get their season up and running and then do that.
Mm.
It's just shocking. You have to laugh. Sorry, Ottawa fans. All right, 24 for me is the Buffalo Sabres.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, look, I mean, they move up a few positions, but I'm still not completely sold that that's a permanent thing. I think it's just a couple of teams below them have sort of been playing quite poorly. They get a massive win, 7-0 win against the Kings. And then they follow that up by getting blanked by the Panthers 4-0. I don't think that's the first time they've done that this year either. I believe they scored 9 goals against the team and then conceded 9 goals against the team. It's just the Buffalo way. And then they get a 3-2 overtime win against Minnesota. So they take 4 out of a possible 6 points. They have that's some decent opponents, the Kings, Panthers, and the Wild. So, all in all, a good week from them. And they're looking okay, but again, it's a bit too shaky for me. I don't think they're going to make anything of this season, even though I would love to see them go on a run. But again, a better week from them.
Alrighty. My 23, the Islanders. Oops.
Yeah, same here.
And just a team that's always been yo-yoing. They only play the one game. They shootout lose against Seattle, so basically a draw. The only reason they moved down is team I haven't mentioned yet. The Wild just been playing better, and that's really it. You can't do too much when you only play one game, and it's just another OT or shootout loss for them.
Yeah, it had to be. It had to be. Talking about summing teams up, that's the Islanders trait this year, overtime. 22 for me is the Seattle Kraken.
Yeah, the team that beat them. Mine Seattle is 21.
Interesting to see who your 22 is. Yeah, look, I mean, they had a reasonably okay week. They lose to the New Jersey Devils 3-1. They then beat the New York Islanders on a back-to-back 2-1 in shootout. They beat Boston 4-1 as well. So they get 4 out of 6 points. Again, for me, they moved down a spot, but they're not moving down a spot because they played poorly. They had a good week. They're moving down more because, again, as Jaden said, a team that's playing quite well at the moment, Minnesota Wild. I just had to move them ahead of them.
Yeah, that's right. My 22 is the Calgary Flames.
Oh, you did punish. You did
I
punish.
punished. I got the whip out, and yeah, you don't win a game. You get blanked by the Rangers, lose 2-0. Then you go against San Jose, you lose 6-3. Then you come against Detroit and you lose 5-0. So 2 games, you don't score a goal. Only having 3 goals against San Jose, but conceding 6. Um, yeah, it's just not pretty. 3 goals and 13 against. I think it's the worst goal differential in the league. For this week, and I punished hard. I still think they're playing better, but I had to punish for a very very poor week.
Yeah, look, I don't blame you. I mean, after what they had produced and there was questions of, well, playoff bound potentially, and then they go and, serve that up. It's quite embarrassing. All right, 21 for me. I have the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah, my 19.
Mm, Yeah, I think this is like I could have had any one of these teams in any one of these next few spots, to be honest. But they only play the 2 games. They lose 5-2 to the Florida Panthers, and then they play the Chicago Blackhawks on a back-to-back and get a 4-1 win. So, good, obviously getting the win on the back-to-back, but again, it's against the Chicago Blackhawks. Hard to put too much merit on that. So yeah, look, they move down mostly because the team's moving above them, and I teetered with moving them above the Calgary Flames. I held it back.
Alrighty. My 20 team I've punished a bit as well. Nashville Predators.
Yes. I think they're my 19. So yeah.
So they lose 4-2 to New Jersey Devils. They then lose 9-2 to Dallas, and then they get the win against St. Louis 5-2. So look, they're generally competitive. Obviously, the Dallas one is a blowout. They were kind of getting blown out in the Devils game as well, just not on the scoreboard. I felt like, and it was a good win against St. Louis, but they've probably been just below 500 for about a month now for me. Just my mindset, they're 3-6-1 the last 10, and it's just been a steady slide, kind of to the area that we thought they would be at the start of the season.
Yeah, look, I still have faith that they can sort of turn it around, but I think coming up to the deadline, it's really going to be a question of whether they're sellers or whether
If
they
they sell
sort of
Saros, which looks like it might be the case, then
they could.
yeah, I think they could jump
Yeah,
fast.
exactly. So I think that's the decision they've got to make. Do you want to go for it or not, basically? All right, 18 for me. I've got the Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, same here.
How long? How long are they going to stay up? Because they did this to us before, got all the way to the top 16, and then plummeted all the way back to 30th almost. Um, They look a good week for them. They're in some fine form. They beat the Vegas Golden Knights 5-3. They beat the Arizona Coyotes 3-1. And then they OT lose to the Buffalo Sabres 2-3. So 5 out of 6 points. Um, I don't know what you'd say about the Vegas tough next to eh. Buffalo, you could consider a bit tougher. But yeah, look, they've been on a heater. I think they're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They're making a real push, even though they've left it really late, try and make the playoffs. But like I said, I can't trust them much this season. They did this to us before. We thought they were back, and then they shit the bed. So yeah, we'll wait and see what they make of this one.
Alrighty, 17, just out the side, the top 16 for me, LA, Los Angeles Kings.
Same here.
And look, they had a good week in regards to results. Obviously, getting destroyed by Buffalo 0-7, and then they do get
That's
the
that one.
the wins. They beat New Jersey. You could probably argue they probably may or may not deserve to win that one. Maybe should have gone to OT. Who knows? But they get the win. They get the 2 points. That's all that matters. And then they go and get the 2 points from Boston in OT. So beat two decent teams and get destroyed by a team they probably should not get destroyed by. So they move up one. Still got a lot of gripes and issues with this team, even though they're about 600%, but their last 10 is 5-3-2. And yeah, I think it's still shaky. It's interesting what they do at the deadline.
Yeah. Look, I think, obviously they put together a good enough front half of the season that I think that's probably going to carry them into the playoffs. But yeah, again, they're not playing probably their best hockey. They're playing better than what they were for sure. But yeah, in terms of like this week, they get a late goal in the third period to tie the game. And then obviously Brant Clark with his first NHL goal to win it. So, you talk about the Devils game iffy, Bruins game iffy. They potentially could have lost both of them in regulation as well. So, yeah, I'm not sold that they're back. I still am worried like you. But the results went their way. All right, 16 for me is the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, same here.
I don't really know how these guys ended up in the top 16, to be honest with you. When I put them there, I sort of had to think twice, but couldn't justify anyone else being 16th. And they had a good week. Besides losing to the Kings, I think they won everything else. So they beat the Kraken 3-1. They won on a back-to-back, which never
Second
happens.
time of
And
the season.
second time of the season, and I believe it's the first time they beat Nashville in regulation in Nashville in 15 years. So,
and it's
big,
the only time Saros has lost in regulation to New Jersey.
yeah. Oh, look, they were breaking some droughts for sure that night. So, yeah, 4-2 win against the Nashville Predators. They then lose 2-1 to the Kings. And then they beat the Philadelphia Flyers 6-3 in today's Stadium Series match. So yeah, look, I mean, some decent opponents. If you're talking Philadelphia in some good form, Kings are obviously in the playoff picture at the moment, even though their form's not been great. And they played that. It was a good game against the Kings. Predators have been there, Kraken have been there. So not the hardest draw, but they still got the job done. So look, their season's open. I just think a lot of it does sit on that defense and whether Nico Dawes can continue being a half decent goaltender compared to what they've been getting. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't count them out, but I wouldn't count them in just yet either.
All right, 15, not moving. St. Louis Blues.
Same here.
And yeah, this team, they win 2, lose 2, start off destroying Montreal 7-2. Then they lose 4-1 to Toronto, only having 15 shots. Then they go and win against Edmonton at 6-3, only to come and lose to Nashville 5-2. So a really flip-flop week. Uh, their kind of scores are a little bit blown out, even though I think they're always generally pretty competitive. And so that's why I couldn't move with them this week. It's a pretty solid 15 for me.
14 for me, the Philadelphia Flyers.
Same thing.
Yeah, look, they moved down one. I don't really think it's too much on their play. They get a 5-3 win against the Arizona Coyotes. They lose, 3-4 in OT against the Toronto Maple Leafs, and then they lose 3-6 today against the New Jersey Devils. Look, they took 3 points. They went 500. They're still in a playoff spot. They're still playing tough competitive hockey. Yeah, there's not much to say. They're a team that's going to just piss you off, really. Even you watch today's Stadium Series game, and that even though they lost and they got outplayed in a sense, but their whole game plan is just to piss you off, as Torts has done all his career, and it works. It works. It didn't work today, but a lot of the time it's working, and yeah, it's going to be hard to see them missing out on a playoff spot, to be honest.
Yeah, I guess my concern is that without Carter Hart, they are leaking a few goals. Lowest they conceded was 3. So I guess that is just my concern. There is just on the goaltending side of things. On to 13 for me, Tampa Bay Lightning. And look, this team, they had those defensive injury woes. We have to see if they, go and get a Hannafin or something like that. But Boston Bruins, they win in shootout. They go beat Colorado 6-3, and then they lose to Florida 9-2. So they beat really good team twice, even though shootout's probably a draw, and then they get destroyed by Florida. But honestly, Florida's Florida at the moment. So they're still going above 500, which is very impressive for the time being.
It's tough, right? You see that 9-2 loss, and you're like, damn, yeah, that's not good. But then they beat 2 really good teams, so yeah, it was hard to move them any more than the 1 spot, and you've obviously moved them up. So, yeah, 13 it is. All right, at 12 for me, I have the Toronto Maple Leafs.
12, Toronto, 10 for me.
Boys, moved them into the top 10.
They cracked my top 10. Toronto fans, love me. Nah, I've done it for you.
You bloody crowd pleaser. Nah, look, I could have definitely moved them into the top 10. They've been playing some really good hockey as of late, especially Auston Matthews. I mean, it's second time this season. I think 6 hat tricks now he's got, and it's the second time this season he's got back-to-back hat tricks. Absolutely crazy. So they beat the St. Louis Blues 4-1. They beat Philadelphia Flyers 4-3, and then they beat the Anaheim Ducks today 9-2. I just want to point out that there was also a hat trick in every single one of their games this week. Bobby McMahon against the Blues, Matthews against the Flyers, and Matthews against the Ducks. So they love a hat trick.
Is it a record? Is it the first in the NHL, or is it if he gets a hat trick next game to go 3 games in a row with a hat trick? I think it's the NHL record.
I mean, maybe. All I can say is Matthews has been absolutely phenomenal. The guy only has 13 hat tricks in his career, and 6 of them have come this year. Yeah, but 6 of them have come this year. It's not like the guy's only been playing for 2 years. He's been playing for a while, and he had 7 career hat tricks before this season started. He's got 13 now.
Well, he scores goals, but where's the assists? Come on, man. Get the assists up. Be a team player. But nah.
Such a selfish man.
Nah, they've been good. On to my 12, Vegas Golden Knights. Moving on.
They're my 9.
They moved down for me. A little bit of punishment, but mainly because I'm pretty high on Toronto at the moment, and a couple other people. So they play the 2 games, lose 5-3 to Minnesota, and then they come against Carolina and lose that one 3-1. So no points in the 2 games. In form Minnesota and a top end team in Carolina. They're always competitive. Like the shot mark is, I feel like, always the same, no matter who they verse. It's always around like 28 to 30. There's always like a 4-shot differential, even if they verse Anaheim or Carolina. So they're always playing the same game, competitive. I just think, yeah, just a little bit of slide for me personally, and just a little bit of hype in regards to other teams.
Yep. Oh yeah, I can understand that. At 11, I have the Winnipeg Jets staying the same.
Number 9 for me.
Ooh. Yeah, look,
Ah.
again, it's one of those. I think any of these teams could have swapped around, but they only beat the San Jose Sharks 1-0, even though it was probably a goaltending thing that sort of stopped that from blowing out. And then they get a good 4-2 win against the Vancouver Canucks. So they, you know, they get 4 from 4 this week, and I think they're on a 3-game winning streak now. So looks like their slide's sort of done, which is good. But I want to see them. I want to see them push into next week before I put them back in the top 10.
Yeah, that's fair. On to 11, I have Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, my 8.
Boom. Yes, I've done some things. So they lose 8-4 to the Edmonton. They lose 4-1 to Vancouver, and then they beat Calgary 5-0. So facing all Canadian teams, coming out with only 2 points, probably beating the team they should beat. And look, they're competing, even though they conceded 8 goals against Edmonton. I still like their compete, still like their game, and it's just sliding down because, like I said, a little bit hype on the other teams. They're only 5-4-1 the last 10 compared to some other teams as well.
Yeah, I'm liking their hockey. I hope that they can continue to be a little bit more consistent than they have been. Number 10 for me is the Colorado Avalanche.
Yeah, my 8.
Yeah, look, they slide a little bit, but they didn't move at all for me. Moved a little bit for you. They have a 6-3 win against the Washington Capitals. They lose 6-3 to Tampa Bay Lightning. So, it's hard. They go 500. It was tough to really do anything with them, but they have been on a little bit of a slide. So I couldn't really move them up. So they stay at 10 for me.
Yeah, that's fair. They're 4-5-1 the last 10, so it's definitely fair. Alrighty, on to number 7. Sliding down a bit, Boston Bruins. And so this team didn't have a win this week. They shootout lose against Tampa. They lose 4-1 to Kraken, and then they OT lose to LA. So no wins, but they come out with 2 points, like they got a win. Seems to be the case for them and Islanders this season. Look, it's not bad, like basically 2 draws and a loss, but I would like to see maybe with the teams they came up against, with like 2 wild cardish teams, even Seattle trying for that wild card. So maybe 3 wild card teams. I would have probably liked to see 4 or 5 out of points this week. And I feel like they've been on a big slide for a long time. I think they were 4-4-2 in the last 10.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I agree with that. My 6 is the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, my 5.
Yeah, look, I mean, they're Dallas Stars just doing Dallas Stars things. I feel like they love this 5, 6, 7 position. 4-2 win against the Carolina Hurricanes, a big win there. A 9-2 win against the Nashville Predators, and that's a big win in a different way. And then a 3-4 OT loss against the Oilers. So the only sort of blemish there is probably that loss against the Oilers and losing that. But other than that, 5 from 6, you're not going to complain against some decent opponents as well. So yeah, they just keep doing what they're doing. The Dallas have been the same the whole season. I don't think they've ever looked like not making the playoffs at one point. So pretty
I,
consistent.
I think they're looking a little bit better in the last 2 weeks. It's just,
Mm.
they've been like consistently that good. Like they're 7-1-2 in the last 10. So, like, yeah, they've just been very consistent.
Been
Uh,
their record like the whole year, basically. Like they are. They're just consistent.
Onto my 6, I have the Rangers.
They're my 4.
Oh, wow, you went hard quick. Um,
Yep.
all right, so they start off the week 2-0 win against Calgary. They 7-4 win against Montreal, and that was the 2 games they played. Honestly, very easy schedule. One of the easiest probably for the week, so I haven't moved too hard. They're 7-1 in the last 10, won the last 6, so they're on a streak, on a run. Um, I probably want to see it when they do lose, if they do go on a losing streak because of that blemish they had mid-season.
Yeah, it's fair. I just, yeah, look, I think they're over that hump now, and I think they're back to the Rangers that held that first position for I don't know how many weeks. So I think we'll continue to see them playing the way they've been playing the last, few weeks. All right, 5 for me. I have the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah, my 4 not moving.
Yeah, look, they go down 1 spot for me, just basically because I put the Rangers ahead of them. But they get an 8-4 win against the Detroit Red Wings, 3-6 loss against the St. Louis Blues, and then a 4-3 win in overtime. So, yeah, kind of a bit of an Edmonton week, getting an absolute smashing against a team that's in good form, then sort of getting beaten fairly convincingly against the Blues, and then jumping back with a good win against Dallas. So, yeah, look, another good win from them. They don't really move down because of their play. I like the Rangers a little bit better than the Oilers at the
Yep,
moment.
that's fair. On to number 3, not moving, Vancouver.
Yep.
And look, this team's just been a Mr. Consisto. Pretty much
Mhm.
all season at this point. They win OT 3-2 against Washington, 4-2 sorry, win against Chicago, 4-1 win against Detroit, and then they lose 2-4 against Winnipeg today. So, look, the easy games, they sealed up. They got the good win against Detroit, who's a little bit of a slide, but not too much of a slide. And then they come up against Winnipeg and just managed to lose that one, but in a close game. Very consistent. What top of the standings at the moment? 6-2-2 in the last 10. They have a plus 59 goal differential, best in the league. It's just hype, hype, hype at the moment. Waiting for playoffs.
100%. 100%. It's going to be good to see what they can do in playoffs. All right, number 2 for me, I do have a new number 1, and number 2 for me is the Carolina Hurricanes. Just dropping a position.
Yeah, done the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, I really sort of wanted to hold them, but Florida's just been too good, and they dropped a couple this week. So they lose 4-2 to Dallas. They win 5-1 against the Coyotes, and then a 3-1 against the Vegas Golden Knights on a back-to-back. So, other than the Dallas sort of blemish there, which is Dallas, they're not an easy team to beat. So nothing too major, but just more about what Florida's doing lately.
Yeah, it's just simple as that. They're still playing
Yeah.
really good defensive hockey, though.
Oh yeah,
Carolina,
100%.
2 games only 2 of the games only conceding 1 goal. One of those,
Hmm.
Vegas on a back-to-back. So very commendable. But yeah, just Florida, just doing Florida things at number 1. Just on a hot streak, kind of where they finished last season. Really, they're just peaking a little bit earlier than they did last season. They beat Pittsburgh 5-2 on a back-to-back. Buffalo 4-0 win, and then they destroy Tampa 9-2 today. So yeah, they're doing really good. Funny thing is, they don't actually outshoot any of their opponents. Funnily enough, with how well they're playing, so there is that. But getting just wins, playing probably the best hockey we've seen. Consistent lineups, and Bobrovsky's playing in his old form. With those questions over him a season or 2 ago, and now he's living up to his expectations. So all
Yeah,
hype
look,
in Florida.
last 23 games, they won 9 straight, lost 4 straight, won 5 straight, lost 1, and then have won the last 4 or something like that. So, yeah, 18 wins, 23 losses in the last, 18 wins, 5 losses in the last 23 games. So, it's a big reason why they find themselves second in the standings and obviously second in the NHL standings and first in our rankings. So, um, yeah, look, they keep this up, they're going to be tough to beat.
Yeah, well, that's the same team that got in the playoffs last time, but I feel like they're a bit better. Which is crazy to think about, but that is the way it is. And yeah, let us know in the comments below what you think of our power rankings. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel for more content. We do shorts as well, so don't forget to check them out. But yeah, let us know in the comments what your power rankings are. But next time, catch you guys.
Bye, guys.